interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Have you ever wondered why the news plays the same 5 stories again and again? Let me give you a little hint. Brainwashing and repetition is the most basic form of brainwashing. Join me as we look at the news cycle and talk about why the mainstream media is so gutless and afraid to report the truth. Good day and welcome to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. I tell you what, 2021 starting out with a bang, isn't it? They always said 2020, good riddance. 2021's got to be better. And then we have the digital purge. We have the crackdown. We have the quote insurrection, the mob at the Capitol. Oh, geez, I tell you what, it's been hot and heavy, right? We're not even 2 weeks into the new year, and shit is off the rails. This is crazy. So we're going to talk about just a little bit of that, kind of in the periphery. If you want like a full actual breakdown on a lot of that, a lot of the technocrats and the crackdowns on the particular political party and the accusations of violence, inciting violence, and the rest of this. We did an entire show on Friday night. Go check it out. It's right on the front page of troubledminds.org. That's the official website of this podcast, which is Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, and the other one is Troubled Minds. And I'm telling you what. All right, so this show is about the news. The other show, Troubled Minds, is about aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, kind of in a long form narrative type kind of like that. Anyway, go check it out if you guys don't know what's up. If you've never heard of it, I'm actually the host of that show as well, and there's a lot of things to talk about. And so here we are. This show spawned off of that show as a kind of a just too much to talk about over there. So here we are for part 2 Conspiracy News. So this is just the news and some light commentary, and we do it live to include you. So Troubled Minds is always a live show. This is always a live show. So if you want to be part of the show today or any other time, just give us a call right here at 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website for this podcast, Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, and also Troubled Minds. You can find both at the website, troubledminds.org. Okay, so with that said, if you want to be part of the show, do it, and I'm taking your call. And speaking of that, I want to play this. So I also want to note that the number that I always read off is not just live while we're doing this, but it's a persistent number. So if you want to call and leave a voicemail and have us played on a future show or something, that totally works. So if you want to do that, please do. And I've got a good example of how that works right now. Let's play this voicemail left by somebody that inevitably and awesomely saw an archive that I did of a show last week talking about this. Is this a coup or is this insurrection or whatever? So let's play this. This is a quick voicemail that somebody left on this phone number, 702-957-1037. And that's, again, it's a live number right now, but it's also persistent. If you want to call and leave us a message, we'll play it on the show in the future. So here we go. Here's a message from, they didn't give a name, I don't think, but let's hear what they had to say.
No, it's not a coup. It's American people tired of government and what's been going on with government for a long time now. They're fed up, they're burnt out, they're tired. And as soon as they started to be sick of government, all of a sudden they started a mask mandate. They started social distancing, divide and conquer. And that's what it really is about. That's bigger than Trump. Take care.
Okay, there you go, right? It's short and sweet. So if you want to leave a message, go ahead and do that. We'll play it on the show. Just don't leave your phone number there because I'll have to edit it out because I don't want people calling you, but random people trying to have a conversation with you. But yeah, good stuff. I don't know who left that message, but thank you for calling in. And I think that's spot on, right? The American people are sick of this shit. We're just sick of the shit. That's totally what's happening here. And like I was saying, kind of when I put it out, we're going to get going with the news here in a sec, so it's, we're not going to do too much of this. But what I pointed out when this happened is, don't you think that maybe some of the frustration of the last year has anything to do with this? Kind of Congress slow walking the stimulus payments and saying that, they have to pack in money here or there for these other special interests, otherwise they can't pass the bill. You know what I mean? Like that type of shit. I think it has some. It actually fits in, it tracks. It makes sense to me that, people. This wasn't just about Trump. This wasn't just about, frustration with the election. It was more than that. And I think it's culminating, and it's going to turn into some things. And I think 2021 already has a lead on 2020 as for what the hell year's going on. So just FYI, we'll keep an eye on this and talk about the news as we go. But here we go. Let's get started with the news in particular. This is from CNET, and kind of on the same subject of the technocrats and the purging and the parlor and all that. We talked about it in depth on Friday. Like I said, go check it out over there if you want a full discussion. But this is from CNET, and the headline reads this: Trump showed Facebook, Twitter, YouTube can't moderate their platforms. We need change. And I think probably most of us can agree with this. So let's see. It took a mob-fueled insurrection. This is straight from the article. Notice the choice language that's coming out of this. It took a mob-fueled insurrection, but Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey finally grasped the enormity of the damage and harm President Donald Trump has done by weaponizing their influential social media platforms, and they banned him permanently on Twitter and indefinitely on Facebook from continuing to post incendiary lies about the 2020 election. But it's no longer about Trump. Facebook and Twitter need radical change. It's time for social media companies to let someone else moderate their platforms. How could this go wrong? Who are they going to hire? Snopes? Jeez. All right, here we go. It continues. Facebook and its Instagram photo sharing site, Twitter, Google's YouTube, and other social networks pay tens of thousands of people to identify and respond to bad behavior. Many of those employees are located outside the U.S., where fewer benefits and lower hourly wages are common. That process hasn't worked well, as evidenced by the many stories we've had to write about the terrible videos, misleading posts, and dangerous lies that need to be taken down but have already been viewed and shared millions of times. These screw-ups are happening on a worldwide scale on platforms with user bases larger than the population of any country on Earth. Facebook has more than 2.7 billion active users, and its Instagram platform has over 1 billion active users. YouTube serves up videos to a global audience of more than 2 billion people per month. Twitter doesn't share simple monthly active user stats anymore, but in 2018, it counted 336 million people logging in each month. I have a feeling it's going to be considerably less pretty soon. Anyway, the company's revenue and profits have grown by double digits since then. All right, so anyway, we had a lot of talk about Section 230 of the Internet Decency Act and some other stuff on Friday, but kind of out of the purview of this show. But, what do you guys think? Given all the information that we've seen, all the things that have gone down in the last week, it's been a crazy week for news and for politics and for the technocrats and for the shycoms, as Alex Jones would say. And like all this stuff is nuts. I think it's clear that we need change, just like this article says, 100%. But what kind of change, right? You can't. This stupid talk about repealing the Section 230 is just dumb. It's just dumb. It's the most incredibly stupid, asinine thing I've ever heard, and it's not how you fix this. If you strip Section 230, then none of these companies can operate at all. They basically have to kind of hole up and stop doing social media pretty much at all ever. And so, and just have like their own editorial teams that put out content. And that's really, I guess maybe that's how they want it, right? That's really how they want it. where it's kind of remember the old days. Think of it this way: in like I don't know, let's say the '60s or something. There were like 3 channels, right? And so if you wanted to get your news, you had to tune into this guy or that guy or the other guy. But I think this attack on this Section 230 is part of that. So there's too many people like me. There's too many people like you out there. There's too many people that care about this and don't want to be fed the mainstream lies, right? And so if we have platforms like this that allow us to reach tons of people, right? I mean, it's possible that today, it's not likely, but it's possible that today this show in particular might go viral and can reach 1 million people. I mean, there's a lot there. It's very valuable for folks like us, for the general population, for the plebs or the bourgeoisie or whatever you want to call us, right? The unwashed masses, like Frank used to say. But it's I don't know. Again, so what do you guys think? What kind of change do you think needs to be implemented on these companies here? Because clearly they cannot police their own content, because this is what happens, right? They've got a ridiculous left-leaning political bias, which is fine. I mean, if you want to be brainwashed, that's fine. Just like a right-leaning, like super hard right is also brainwash. It's the same. It's just a different team, Team A, Team B, red, blue, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, what kind of change do you think is necessary? And we'll continue talking about this, because this conversation is not done. This is one of those situations that's going to continue festering. It's going to get worse and worse. The crackdowns are underway, guys. This is going down, and I don't think it's going to be anything. What would you say? Like pack up the kids and the bullets and the food and take off type of situations. But I think things in the next couple months are going to get pretty dark here with digitally speaking. Like I was saying, I was on the Penny Bunny show on Saturday, and I mean this. I think it's unlikely that a show like this lasts throughout this year, throughout the end of the year. So I think it's time for independent people that speak out to. We have to build our own platforms now, because this is this kind of was we saw this coming in before the election. It kind of the writing was a little bit on the wall when they started coming after particular radio hosts like Clyde Lewis and things like this. But I think now if you want a platform, I think you're gonna have to build it yourself, and that's a little bit terrifying, right? And so people say there's no free speech implications and all the rest of this, but there's censorship for sure, 100%, no doubt. So anyway, back to this article just real fast. So what are they going to do? They're going to hire Snopes or like PolitiFact to fact check. Oh yeah, that'll fix everything, right? Anyway, all right, back to more technocratic bullshit. Let's go to this. This is reported by Business Insider, and we talk about China quite a lot on this show. For many reasons, and this one is one of the reasons why. We always say that I've always maintained this, that the new world model of government is going to be based on the Chinese model, and everybody kind of wants to adopt this, whether they're admitting it or not. Like most of these countries are very envious of the full spectrum control that the media, that China has on its billions of people. And so once you lock it down with the social credit scores and the surveillance technology, I think the United States would find that very handy, don't you? I think so. So let's see as they try and implement that this year. Anyway, Mark Zuckerberg, right from the article here, Mark Zuckerberg is copying the tactics used by China's tech industry to try and beat China's tech industry. Yeah, right? You catch that? Let's read some of this. If you manage to sneak behind the Great Firewall, which encircles China's internet, you're confronted with an oddly familiar environment. The Chinese internet looks similar, if not more developed, than the rest of the world's. But there are a few key differences. You won't find YouTube, at least not officially, through virtual private networks. VPNs, virtual private networks, enable people within China to access it, but you will find a raft of homegrown competitors that look awfully like the world's biggest video sharing website. You won't find Twitter, but you will find Weibo, which looks similar. A parallel internet was generated out of China's unique social and political demands, but it lifted key concepts and stole ideas from the early social media giants of Silicon Valley. It's not just apps and services that have been subject to outright copying. Since Western companies reshored their product lines to China in the 80s and 90s, China has become the place to buy knockoff items. It's estimated 80% of all counterfeit goods worldwide come from China. Now in the 2020s, the tide has turned, in the world of tech at least. We're copying China. Now specifically, what do you think we're copying? We're copying the censorship, the crackdown. This is what's happening. This is exactly what's going on right now. And so think about that. If you have a state-sanctioned YouTube where you're only allowed to say within a small slice of the conversation, acceptable conversation, it becomes a really small amount. That's where we're headed. Like we're headed back to that, just like I said earlier, that 3-channel broadcasting station where they want only 3 narratives and they're all kind of intertwined. And this is not a good thing, guys. This is not a good thing. And so anyway, here we go. So today we're seeing the rise of the first generation of apps developed outside Silicon Valley to truly make it into the mainstream, spearheaded by TikTok, which charts its genesis in 2 different apps, musical.ly and a U.S. company run by Chinese executives, and Douyin, D-O-U-Y-N, which has firmly had its feet within the Great Firewall since its founding. The shift has the old guard of Silicon Valley tech bros and hawkish politicians worried about the geopolitical implications of ceding control of the internet to China. Concerned. So they block us out. They don't let people like me talk in China because, well, I'll say the word freedom once in a while. And just like 1984, some words have been banned, haven't they? Some words have been completely redacted, and you can only say double plus good. And yeah, this is a little bit interesting that this is where we're headed, right? These are the types of things that people should be talking about, and they are simply not. Again, you turn on the mainstream media, and they're like, oh, the crackdown of this or that, and insurrection, we'll impeach the president. Yeah, let's politicize this. Yeah. No. This is not where this is headed. Where this is headed is it's going to affect you and me the most. The people that, the good, decent people of the internet that show up and, press the stream button and press record and upload a video. And we meet together in these communities and talk about these things. It's going to affect us the most, not the rest of these clowns. This guy, Zuck's got all the money in the world. This dude can do whatever the hell he wants, and they realize that they cannot police the industry at this point anymore. And so, as a result, like I started with that other article, and it's true, it's completely true that Facebook and the rest of big tech is going to crack down and try and copy China in their censorship game. They have to, right? Because like I said, what can you do? You hire PolitiFact or Snopes, which are like literally like ridiculously biased fact checkers, which but they're just spinning fact checks now, which is an entire paper unto itself right there. But then we have we have censorship. We have again, you and me not allowed to speak our minds. So anyway, just I want to point this out. This is what's happening right now, and this is what the conversation should be, in my opinion. But you turn on the mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, and that's not what's going on, is it? Go turn it on. They're definitely doing this, but they're attacking Section 230, which is a mistake, right? They're talking about insurrection and a political coup and this other stuff, which is not true. It's also a mistake. But again, right, they can politicize the shit out of it. So yeah. Anyway, here we go. Quick word from our sponsor, which would be you, and then we'll keep on trucking with the news. Are you digging the show? If so, you can support us quite easily and at no additional cost to you if you already have an Amazon Prime account. Since we stream on Twitch every day, all you have to do is link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and they give you free games on a monthly basis for your personal use, and also a bonus $5 a month to send to your favorite streamer as a way to bring more people to Twitch. And all you have to do is sync up to 2 accounts and click subscribe. Thanks for considering us. Okay, there you go. So there's one way to support the show. We have some folks. Thank you, Noble Cal, for subscribing there for plus 2 months. I appreciate that. And you did not lose your founder status. You still get first. So I think it maintains for an entire month, something like that, before it drops you. Or maybe it sticks forever. You just got to come back and sub. I'm not sure. But anyway, your first is still there. You're cool, Noble KLL. What's up, Satan Claus, Dolly Kill? I see you guys out there in the chat. Thanks for being here. Ident, hello. Okay, so if you want to be a part of the show, this is live, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. And you can call this number, get on the show, join the Discord, and be part of the conversation here. What do you think? What about all this stuff? Do you think the news does a good job covering the news? I would think probably not. If you're here in a place called Conspiracy News. But I'm open to hearing it. If you think that, how about the going back to like the 3-network or 5-network type situation, right? Can you imagine if the only networks we had were so consolidated that and they could only allow political speech that was approved by the government? Yeah, imagine that world. Imagine that world. Yeah, go ahead and call Joe. Give us a call, no problem. What do you think about this stuff? So anyway, just talking about this and the rest of these things, and it's this stuff matters. This stuff is important. It's a little bit scary, and I think that something needs to be done for in a lot of these cases. Yeah. So here we go. Here's another one from the New York Post. Here we go. I'm going to slap this in. We'll take this phone call right now. I think we got Joe calling in from Florida. But we're going to talk about this in just a sec. And one moment, we'll take the phone call. And then we'll get to the news. We'll get back to the news. All right. So this show's live, 702-957-1037. If you want to be part of the show, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. You can join that way as well. If you don't like the long distance, 702 is a Vegas area code. And here we go. Let's go with this. Joe, you're on not Troubled Minds. You're on Conspiracy News with Michael Strains. How are you, my man?
So this is the first time I've called you from work. And I'm surprised that I can watch Twitch on my server and work isn't like cutting it out or stopping it. NSFW.
For now.
So it's kind of cool because I'm
now.
And we've had so many people drop dead this week. I actually lost count of the families. So it's really been, and it's not all COVID. So, there's just 90-year-old people that made it through the holidays and they're kicking off because they don't want to go through 2021.
Yeah.
But I've been given, a lot of thought to this, really, and I've got two things. One of the things we've already talked about on the 11 o'clock on the late night show, but it's on propaganda and democracy. And basically that saying goes, it's difficult for those who defend democracy to harmonize the thesis which argues that democracy, by its very definition, is the rule of freedom of propaganda, with a thesis which states, in the destruction of democracy. There is, of course, no logical contradiction between these two arguments. But if both are true, if democracy can't exist without tolerating propaganda, whatever we deem that to be, you or I, the left or the right, whatever the news feeds us, which will result inevitably in the abolition of democracy. But it's obvious that this form of government is condemned to disappear in a future more or less remote. So I'll stop there and I'll read you something quick. There was a book, review that I was listening to, and the name of the book is called We Have Been Harmonized, Life in China's Surveillance State. If I had time to read a fucking book like I used to, I would order the book. I still might. But the interview, the guy that wrote the book basically said he interviewed a lawyer. And when the lawyer was a kid, China was giving out propaganda to turn people in. And this was when Mao was in rule. So the lawyer complained, his mom, I guess the lawyer's mom, said something about the previous leader, communist leader, whoever that was. And this guy, when he was a kid, wrote the government and ratted out his own mother. And within a matter of weeks, she was executed, his own mother. So then the author goes on to say that the Chinese people that lived through Tiananmen Square they're literally afraid to tell their children, who are the adults now, what has gone on, because there's that much more surveillance. So, well, I guess what I'm saying is, and I'm trying not to take a side, it's a slippery slope. I mean, we're Democratic, but like you're saying, we could easily slip into this, and we are slipping that way.
I think it's happening right now.
For better or for worse.
2021 is that year, man.
Probably for worse.
They're coming for it. They're coming for it. All this stuff with the Trump and the Twitter and all this crap. This is just the beginning. Wait till the inauguration, and wait till they become emboldened because they're backed by the government. This shit's going to go off the rails, man. Like I said, I will be shocked if we go through the entire 2021 and this show and the other show is allowed to run. I'm being dead serious about that.
But, well, and you're right. And here's the thing: I can't, I can't put thought to it, and I don't find an easy answer. But I wonder if people, basically, if we gift something on Twitch or something like that, we're paying kind of for a subscription. I mean, it's kind of hybrid, right? But if we go to Hulu and I pay every month, or Netflix, which I like better because I don't get ads. But if it's a pay for service, then I have a little bit more choice on paying. Unlike what we've seen with Facebook, we become the consumer and we become part of the algorithm. And
the
this
product.
is where that great divide has happened.
You are now the product.
Huh?
You're the product where they serve ads to.
Yeah, we're the product.
Yeah.
So, and it's a sad thing. So, really quick, let me read here. I just pulled up on Amazon, and actually I'm off the clock. I'm going to go home here in a minute, but in China's shiny new smart cities, citizens can scarcely cross the road or buy an orange without the government knowing about it. And tweeting satirically about the glorious leaders' dumpling-like features can land you in jail. It's often assumed that capitalism and the internet automatically bring freedom and democracy. But the author shows how China's autocratic leaders are using powerful new tech to create the largest and most effective surveillance state the world has ever seen. This is a fascinating journey behind the Great Firewall into a land where Big Brother has acquired a whole new set of toys with which to control and harmonize the masses. It is also an urgent warning against Western complacency. China is already finding eager overseas buyers for its ever-upgrading OS system for dictators in Africa and in Asia, Russia and the Middle East. And I'll add to that description, basically consolidation. Everybody is seeking consolidation. Here is the thing. Trump may have tried to consolidate. Some of us didn't like him. Now we have the Democrats and Biden. Some of us don't like Biden, me being one of them. It'll probably be the last time I ever vote in this country again. And I will still fucking complain about it on both sides. The book, I should probably pick it up. That was a free book plug, but it sounds like something I want to read. But I think we're a democratic society. I hate to believe that they want to take our rights away as much as they want to make money off of us. What I'm getting at basically is they're looking for ever-changing new industries to sell to and make money and drive the stock market. Just like after 9/11, maybe it was a little bit about safety, but I think it was about selling fucking cameras and getting rid of your rights so they could sell tasers and more weapons and militarize the police.
Yeah.
Just like the military-industrial complex.
You know what the sweet spot is? The sweet spot is to take away our rights and make money off us. there's your serendipity moment if they can pull both off. Oh, jeez.
Well, yeah. and then the biggest part of that, and you're right. I mean, but the biggest shame, I should say, the biggest shame about that is that we're divided.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're divided. We're divided.
Yeah.
And those people went to D.C. and just like the 99%. So I'm going to go left and I'm going to go right. When the 99% went to Wall Street, okay, and they protested, they didn't have a fucking leader. They had no fucking real demands. Okay, so what'd you do? You wasted your time there. You wasted your time there to go find a fucking safe space. You wasted your time. You maybe had a chance to be heard, okay, and it was squandered, okay? Now let's look at what happened in D.C. You maybe had a chance to maybe go up there and say, we need to set term limits. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to get money out. But instead, what did you do? What did you fucking do? And in the same night, they still voted, which to me, because I haven't heard the last couple of shows you've had, because I've been working my ass off, hip high and fucking bodies here. But to me, the fact that they went back there that night to count that vote just tells me the whole fucking thing was staged. I had a friend of mine that was there taking pictures, and then, he sent the message basically saying it was really strange that about 200 people got together and went in, and none of the other protesters were even allowed to approach the group that went into, wherever the fuck it was they stormed in. I'm totally during that.
Capitol building.
They were basically like not interacting with the general protesters that were there. Okay.
Okay, like it was
so, to
separate...
me, that was kind of, you could say whatever you want. I think it was fucking staged, even though some other people probably got in. But the reason why I think it was staged is because those old assholes came back to work that night. They didn't even care. It wasn't like they said, oh, we'll listen to some stuff you said. Okay, so the question is, this was another squandered moment, and these people are not going to make a bill to vote themselves out of power. They're not going to amend the Constitution. They're not going to do nothing to get themselves out of power, clearly, unless they have guns pointed to their heads, which we did not get that far in doing. God forbid.
And we're not going to do that. And we're not going to advocate for that. Come on now. You got to be clear when you say these things, man.
Right. I mean,
you got to be clear. You got to be clear. You see, hold on. Wait. It's critically important. Yeah. This is exactly what's happening, right? The second you leave out an important detail when you make a statement like that, we're terrorists. You understand? So you have to be very. I'm serious. Dude, look what's happening right now, right? Like they're saying, well, it's not a Second or a First Amendment issue. First Amendment, not second. It's not a First Amendment issue because they're cracking down on people inciting violence. All right, you see how they're going after this. So I'm just saying, when you bring up guns as a talking point here, you have to be very clear that you don't advocate for that, or else you are. You see, the implication is that we're guilty already, and so that's what's terrifying about this. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, and I just want to be clear that
no, and thank you.
Lest we be terrorists.
Thank you for making that clear. I mean, and that's why I'm like, I can't be involved in this. It's like you want to move, but how close was it? I mean, maybe us here listening to the show are wanting violence. But they already had it up there. So what's going to come next? I'm just playing devil's advocate when I call you, that's what it is. But we all hate to be right. The few people here that are listening now, the people that come on Tuesday and Friday nights, we're all right. We've all talked about this in a cordial way, and I think we've all agreed. Why? Because we care about each other. I think, I don't know these people that are listening to, but we all have that same mindset. And we all hate to see our countries, respectively, go down the tubes in the name of greed and selfishness, and narcissism. It's disgusting. And I guess what I'm getting at is the fact that those politicians went back to work. And nobody has made a negotiation to change things. Yeah. This will happen again.
Well, they're setting it up. They're setting up the dominoes. This is a setup, man. It's in many ways. So we'll see. We'll see what 2021 brings. As you know, we'll keep an eye on this stuff. I got a story that's going to kind of tack on to exactly what you just said. I appreciate the call, man. We got to keep moving here. This is a shorter form show. So
I'm going home, brother. I'll see you this week. Maybe I'll call you, at night. Thank you.
Appreciate it, my man. Be safe. That's Joe from Florida. God bless you and the family. Talk to you soon. Okay, simple as that. If you guys want to be on the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and we're going to keep on talking about the news. Now, like he said, this is it's interesting that they went back, right? And it was more of a, he said it was rigged. It was a setup. Here's an interesting thing, tragic, and worth talking about here. Oh, and also notable, if you guys don't know Joe there, some of you are maybe new to this show, don't know Joe, that the guy that just called. He's a funeral director, and so that's why he talks about bodies stacking up. So because he's busy, because there's a lot of COVID deaths and other deaths and these things, so he's been busy. So that's what he means, just to clarify in case you guys didn't know that. Okay, so this is reported by the New York Post. Tragic. Veteran Capitol cop reportedly commits suicide days after D.C. riot. What is this? Like, what's going on here now, right? Like this is like things you'd see in third world countries, right? So here we go. A veteran U.S. Capitol police officer has died by suicide, authorities and sources said Sunday, days after he responded to the riot that killed 5 people, including another member of his department. Officer Howard Liebengood, age 51, died on Saturday while off duty, the department announced in a statement. Quote, he was assigned to the Senate Division and has been with the department since April of 2005. The statement read, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, friends, and colleagues. And amen to that, yes. We ask that his family and other USCP officers and their families' privacy be respected during this profoundly difficult time. The department did not disclose the circumstances of Liebengood's death, but sources characterized it as an apparent suicide. It is not immediately clear what drove Liebengood, whose late father once served as Sergeant-at-Arms for the Senate, to the act. The head of the department's labor union said that Liebengood was among the officers who responded to last week's riot. So he was there. He responded. He was among the people that responded. And this is interesting, right? Is this the type of thing that makes you wonder what's going on there? Is this a guy that had been struggling for a very long time? It begs some questions, and don't forget the tragedy in these things. This is a human being, you know. So whether this is a conspiratorial or whether this was a guy that with mental health issues that was struggling for a long time, there's tragedy in this. So don't forget that. The very first and foremost thing is there's human tragedy here, and we should be compassionate to that. And then after that, don't again, right? Don't politicize this too hard. Don't turn it into the next R-anon. Sorry, you can't say that letter anymore. But whatever happens, right? Like, but it definitely seems the timing. Who knows? Who knows what happened? Maybe he I don't know. I don't want to speculate what was going on in this guy's mind. The suicide victims are victims of themselves, victims of their own mental state, and a terrible tragedy. I don't know. I don't want to speculate here. I don't want to go kind of outside the bounds of discussion. Terrible stuff, right? Terrible stuff. All right, let's keep on moving. This one is reported by fastcompany.com, and here we go. Dropping this in, and let's go with headline reads this: the CIA has a trendy new logo, and critics are not impressed. So there's the logo. You guys can see right there on the screen. That's a nice CIA. Yeah, right. Yeah. Woo. As a general rule, the CIA tries to stay out of the news, but its new website didn't arrive on the scene very quietly. The site and its corresponding new logo seemed more reminiscent of 70s Joy Division than a state government agency, a fact that critics on Twitter were quick to point out. But despite its synth pop feel, some design experts said that the new site seemed to accomplish its mission to aid the agency in recruiting. All right, so there's the new CIA logo. It does look very, I don't know, like they said, Joy Division from the 70s. Yeah, that's an old band if you guys don't know them. I don't know. Is this going to help? Do you guys want to line up and get a job with the CIA now that you've seen this sweet logo? Yeah, I don't know. Not me. The updated site and logo are just the latest in a renewed recruitment effort by the CIA under Director Gina Haspel. Over the past few years, the agency has been upping its outreach to millennials and minority communities, including joining Instagram and launching its first TV recruitment ad on Hulu last summer. It's clear that recruitment isn't the site's top priority just by looking at it. The only buttons above the fold are careers and find your calling, along with aspirational, career-oriented messaging. A carousel of photos showcases young professionals from diverse backgrounds. Quote, "It's obvious the CIA is more interested in recruiting," says Brett Sanford Chung, VP and CMO executive partner at marketing and analytics firm Forrester. She notes the stark contrast to sites like the FBI, where you have to dig to find a jobs page. The CIA makes it clear that it's all about recruitment. I'd have to dig to find the other stuff, she says, as she works with clients. What's the site's purpose? Here, it's very clear what the CIA's purpose is. All right, so they want people, right? I guess they, like I said, interesting that kind of they foreshadowed the 2021 purge and the CIA's rolling out a marketing campaign for new folks to, I guess, there's governments that need to be undermined and overthrown, and there's shadow wars that need to be fought and proxy wars. All the dirty things the CIA has been up to, they need people, guys. Anybody interested in working for the CIA? Yeah. Anyway, just kicking it, talking about conspiracy news. If you want to be part of the show, what are your thoughts on any of this stuff? You're going to run out and join the CIA, let me know. If you want to be a part of this show right now, you can just dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website for this and the other podcast, which is called Troubled Minds Radio. All right, so let's take a quick break real fast. You guys know how the breaks work here. They're incredibly quick. You almost didn't know they happened. So you're listening to you're listening to, I do that. You're listening to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. Let's continue with the news here. We're looking at this is from CNN. Now, the headline here is interesting. Caught my attention, of course, as these headlines typically do. And the headline here reads the U.S. economy lost 140,000 jobs in December. All of them were held by women. Okay, let me read that one more time. The U.S. economy lost 140,000 jobs in December. All of them were held by women. I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's not the way this works. But okay, let's read this. A year ago, a rare thing happened to American women. For 3 months, they held more jobs than men in the U.S. economy, something that had only occurred one other time in history, during a short period in 2009 and early 2010. Sure, there were still many other gender gaps, and women were more likely than men to to work part-time, for example, because of caregiving responsibilities at home, and even among full-time workers, they earned on average only 81 cents for every dollar to their male peers. This is CNN, so that's where this is coming from. So that's why I'm reading this. Nevertheless, women were making gradual gains. The pandemic quickly changed that story, and now it just got worse. According to new data released Friday, employers cut 140,000 jobs in December, signaling that the economic recovery from coronavirus pandemic is backtracking. Digging deeper into the data also reveals a shocking gender gap. Women accounted for all the job losses, losing 156,000 jobs, while men gained 16,000. All right. Now, statistics, right? Statistics. Like I said, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure this is not how that works. So if you lose 140,000 jobs and every one of them were held by women, that would be the Twilight Zone, right? That would be the Twilight Zone. So, as a larger statistical base, you can say this, but all of them were held by women. CNN, come on. Do a little better, please. Do a little better. All right, anyway, let's keep on trucking here. Now, let's get out of the doldrums of the earth and let's head to space, shall we? As we do sometimes on this show, because nobody else does, because they're, too busy politicizing all the rest of the shit, like CNN right there. So anyway, this is from sci-fi.com. Headline reads this: life forms on Earth could have spawned from something that definitely wasn't alive. Living things have always come from other living things as far back as human memory goes, but there might have been a time billions of years before human memory when they emerged from something else. In the primordial ooze that once bubbled on a nascent Earth, chemical reactions occurred from which life sprang forth. It is possible the earliest life on our planet could have emerged from abiogenesis, the process by which life arises from something lifeless, not dead, but never having been alive. Interesting, the distinction there, eh? New research has shown that a compound which was already a prebiotic Earth might have actually put together the first strands of DNA and RNA, which carries out the directions encoded in DNA. Then things multiplied and spread and evolved, and blam! Here we are. Here we are. While, quote, while self-replicating molecules are essential for life, they are only a part of the whole, chemist, really long name I can't pronounce, said, who led a study recently published in Aggiwande Chemie. There you go. It's a foreign thing, clearly, because these words are beyond me, tells Sci-Fi Wire. With this caveat, when you try to answer the question when exactly life came to be, it would have to be understood that there needs to be a catalyst or sets of catalysts that enable a sustainable self-replication process. Enzymes are the catalysts that cause the strands of DNA and RNA to split and replicate themselves. Anyway, interesting. Again, this is kind of nothing new. This is a brand new article, January 6th of 2021, where they're talking about these things. But notice the distinction. I think probably the most important part of this whole article here, this is not new. We've talked about in academia, even in regular school, growing up, the abiogenesis and how the primordial ooze and how, all the rest of this, where life actually came from in its earliest forms. But this is, again, the distinction, right? Things that were, hold on, let's see, where was that again? Things that were not dead, but never having been alive. So I think definitions are important. and not dead, but never having been alive. So, yeah, right? Does that mean alive? Before they were alive? Anyway, interesting. All right, let's go back to CNN, and this one's a little more WTF. And back to Earth. Let's get back to Earth instead of the cosmos and the navel gazing of the primordial ooze. Let's get to this. Denmark debuts new children's TV show about a man with a huge and uncontrollable penis. Yeah, I said that. Denmark debuts new children's TV show about a man with a huge and uncontrollable penis. Check this out. So Denmark's flagship broadcaster has suffered blowback over its newest children's TV program, John Dillermand, an animation starring a man with a penis so massive and flexible it can save children from danger, fetch objects from a river, and operates as a pogo stick. The show, whose 13 episodes are available to watch on the DR Network's website, follows its titular character as he navigates an array of unexpected scenarios caused by his inexplicably huge genitalia. In episode 1, for instance, the mustached Dillermand uses his gigantic stripy organ as a lead for his dog, but quickly finds himself inundated with requests from his neighbors to take their pets out for a walk, too. At another point in the show, he is stuck floating in midair after balloons are tied to his groin. What in the hell? In another episode, he breaks a friend's vase with his penis and must raise money to pay them back. And in a third, he uses it to steal an ice cream at the zoo. Dear God. All right, well, all the sick shit that people say about, the sick shit going on in the world, this is the sick shit going on in the world, right? I have no idea, what kind of knuckleheadedness, what kind of stupid people come up with an idea like this. It's one thing if it's like a parody, late night type of, like South Park or something. But holy shit, this is going on a children's station? The guy with the massive, unmanageable penis that causes shenanigans in his life, and the whole series is based around those shenanigans? Are you shitting me? He stole an ice cream at the zoo with his penis. All right, you follow this? All right, now what kind of sick pedo shit is this? Come on, guys, what the hell? Now, okay, and everybody gets all up in arms when the R&On people or the Hollywood pedophile elites and all this stuff, right? And then people say these things, and people are like, there's no evidence for a lot of that shit. Well, I don't know. What the fuck is this? What is this? What the hell is this? Who allowed this to happen? How did this get anywhere close to even becoming a thing? My exasperation, it probably echoes yours, or vice versa, and amplifies each other. This is sick. This is sick. And what can you do, right? What can you do? This is the world we live in, and this is why we talk about these things. Because as CNN reports this should be probably frontline news, right? This should probably be straight up 100% frontline news that nobody really touches. Nobody talks about this. Once again, like George Carlin says, nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. So they get some blowback. They say, shouldn't these people be in jail? I mean, not that I'm like, jail everybody, like that type of guy, but holy shit, right? Like, this is sick. All right, anyway, let's keep on moving here. There's more. Speaking of sick, we have this thing called self-enhancement through spiritual practices, right? And so this is an opinion piece on Scientific American, and the headline is fantastic. It is The Science of Spiritual Narcissism. Yeah, right? So, what is the implication there? This is from January 11th, 2021, brand spanking new, and by Scott Barry Kaufman. What a cynical worldview, huh? The Science of Spiritual Narcissism. Self-enhancement through spiritual practices can fool some of us into thinking we're evolving and growing, when all we're growing is our ego. Quote, at every normal moment, the seeker must proceed with a vigilant eye upon his deceits of the ego and the ambushes of the misleading powers of darkness, who ever represent themselves as the one source of light and truth, and take on them a simulacrum of divine forms in order to capture the soul of the seeker. And that's from the Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo. And yes, interesting, right? Walking the spiritual path properly is a very subtle process. It is not something to jump into naively. There are numerous sidetracks which lead to a distorted, ego-centered version of spirituality. We can deceive ourselves into thinking we are developing spirituality when instead we are strengthening our egocentricity through spiritual techniques. Oh boy. Oh boy. Fascinating conversation to me if we're talking about humans evolving. Some people have said that once humans are born, they stop evolving because the DNA process of making you who you are type of thing has come and gone, and you don't get to do any more of that. But do people out there believe that there's actual a way to continue to evolve spiritually, or is this all just a trick of our ego to turn us into spiritual assholes? Is that what's going on here? Anyway, interesting. Worth a read. Check it out if you guys are interested in exploring this a little bit more. I thought it was fascinating. And here's another one. This is from sciencemag.org. And again, just kind of reading through the news here, talking about the stuff that people don't talk about, the news that they kind of leave out of the headlines because, well, they're assholes, to be short and blunt about it. But okay, sciencemag.org reports this. How mice feel each other's read it, Mike. Pain or fear. How mice feel each other's pain or fear. Interesting. Summary. Empathic behaviors play crucial roles in human society by regulating social interactions, promoting cooperation toward a common goal, and providing the basis for moral decision-making. Understanding the neural basis of empathy is crucial to understanding not only the human mind, but also the neural mechanisms that give rise to social behaviors and the principles of our societies. Functional imaging studies in humans have identified essential brain regions that are engaged when people empathize with the affective experiences of others. However, human neuroimaging studies provide only limited spatial resolution and are solely correlative in nature. It has thus remained unclear how empathy with distinct affective experiences is set apart within the brain. On page 153 of this issue, Smith investigated the social transfer of pain relief, or fear in mice to address how the sharing of these diverse affective states is differentiated within the brain. Interesting that mice do it too, right? Mice do this thing. Here's the actual link if you guys want to read the thing here. Actually, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, you guys have the link. They have the full text here of everything, and you can check it out. But how mice feel each other's pain or fear. So interesting that they're talking about empathy, social empathy in mice. Weird, eh? There's a science to this. Sound is cutting off and on. Yeah, maybe, right? We're streaming. Go ahead and refresh. Let's see if that helps. It's probably going to be a broken broken stream or whatever. That's fine. It's happened, right? So again, right, this is the thing, and here's your conspiracy, right? Here's your conspiracy. Are they starting to make streams unreliable as a standard basis, so you can't get it through? Yeah. Okay, this one, let's see if I can actually get this to show up without the ad block situation here. Let's pause the ad block. Or are they going to make me? There we go. All right. Okay, so anyway, we'll just read the headline for this. This is from the LA Times. Californians shouldn't travel more than 120 miles from home, the state says. So yeah, this is what's happening, right? So not only do we have massive lockdowns, we're saying nobody should travel, nobody should go anywhere close from home. 120 miles, blah blah, so on and so forth. Being urged to stay home. Continues. Yes. All right. Here we go. There's some more. We talk about climate change and the way the media handles this situation quite often on this show. Let's look at this one. This is from oilprice.com, right? Yeah. How about the oil price? Net zero emissions might not be possible without nuclear power, from Svetlana Parazkava. Is a writer for oilprice.com with over a decade of experience writing for news outlets such as Inves and C News. Okay, see? Like everybody's a journalist these days, right? I'm sure she's a fine lady. Straight from the article. Declining solar, wind, and battery technology costs are helping to grow the share of renewables in the world's power to mix, to the point that governments are pledging net zero emission electricity generation in 2 or 3 decades to fight global warming. Yet, electricity grids will continue to require stable baseload to incorporate growing shares of renewable energy sources and ensure lights are on even when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow, which we've talked about, right? We've talked about how California has kind of overstepped and didn't really account for, August weather. And so last year we had a whole bunch of the grid going out, right? People in California, again, suffering in the middle of summer because of this, right? Now, you tell me, are we really talking about existential humanity 100 years from now, this type of crisis? Or are we talking about stupid politicians right now creating an existential energy crisis in this moment today? I don't know. I think it's probably worth talking about. And, how many eggs you got to break to make an omelet, I guess is the question here, right? And how much do they want to kind of push through? And yeah, whatever. If you guys agree or disagree with this, I don't really care. It's something to think about. It's something to talk about. It's something to push to top of mind. And I want to point out just a real quick commercial blurb as we continue this and finish this up with the last segment here. But if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. There you go. I say it really fast because I'm really fast. I can be really fast. You'll see fast. All right, but these the Twitch subscriptions, which we're starting to stack some up. I appreciate that, guys. If you want to keep subscribing, it's basically a monthly thing. So the pain in the ass part is you got to come back once a month and resubscribe, right? So I hope it's not too much to ask, because there's a lot of work that goes into this, and hopefully you get a lot more entertainment out of this than a 10-second come back and click the resubscribe button. But just gonna let you know that it's a thing. So I'll add a second commercial to the back end of this and to play instead of this spot that I'm going to play. But just letting you know that if you subscribed to this Twitch channel a month ago, it is possible it is about to lapse. So you can resubscribe through Prime again. You just have to wait till it's expired and then just resub up. So just FYI, I'll keep reminding you guys of that. I have to do it as well for some other channels I'm subscribed to here on Twitch. But just letting you know, that's what's going on with this. But here we go. One more quick blurb, and then we'll keep on trucking with the news and finish up. Are you digging the show? If so, you can support us quite easily and at no additional cost to you if you already have an Amazon Prime account. Since we stream on Twitch every day, all you have to do is link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and they give you free games on a monthly basis for your personal use, and also a bonus $5 a month to send to your favorite streamer as a way to bring more people to Twitch. And all you have to do is sync up the 2 accounts and click subscribe. Thanks for considering us. Okay, appreciate that. Here we go. Sci-fi.com reports this, and this is pretty cool stuff. In 774 AD, the sun blasted Earth with the biggest storm in 10,000 years. I wonder how they classify that as climate change, or if it's actually built into the climate models at all. Just curious. Anyway, so nothing like it had been felt on this planet for 10,000 years. A mix of high energy light and hugely accelerated subatomic particles. When this wave impacted Earth, it changed our atmospheric chemistry enough to be measured centuries later. So our pre-electronic societies went entirely unaffected by it. But were this sort of event to happen today, the results would be bad. It was first discovered by an analysis of tree rings. Of all things, scientists found that the level of carbon-14, an isotope of carbon, was much higher in rings from that year than usual. Some years later, looking at air samples from ice cores, scientists saw that there were elevated levels of beryllium-10 and chlorine-36 as well. The common factor in all these elements is that they are created when extremely high-energy subatomic particles hit Earth's air and ground. They slam into the nuclei of atoms and change them, creating these isotopes. The only way to get particles at energies like this is from space, where powerful magnetic fields and exploding stars, for example, can accelerate the particles to such high speeds. We call these isotopes cosmogenic, made from space. So there we go. So what could have created the space storm in 774 AD? The obvious candidate for such a thing is a very powerful solar flare. An explosion on the sun created when intense magnetic field lines tangle up and short circuit, releasing huge blasts of energy and particles. But the 774 event was so powerful that at first scientists were skeptical it could be from a flare. Once any other type of atmospheric phenomenon was ruled out, though, a flare was all that was left. And if you guys don't know, this is otherwise known as a Carrington event. And one happened in the 1800s, where a solar flare actually set telephone wires on fire and caused fires on the Earth. So this shit is very real. This shit is should be, again, put this into your climate models, bitches. see how that works out. And again, and not saying that we don't try our best to figure these things out. Of course we do, as people and scientists and communities. But I'm just saying that there's some things that we can't account for, and some things that we as people that you kind of can't. You can't plug these into computer models, because this might happen tomorrow. And if this should happen tomorrow, this would be equivalent of like a worldwide EMP, or at least whatever side of the Earth it hit, right? And so that's terrifying, because we're talking about lots of people starving. We're talking about banking systems going down. We're talking about satellites being fried, GPS not working, you name it. On and on and on. And this stuff happens from time to time. Again, 1800s. This is back at 774 AD. They say it was such a huge blast. Carrington event. Look it up. It's called a Carrington event. 1800s. It set fires on the Earth. All right? Just, talk about directed energy weapons. Holy shit, right? Okay, so continue talking the news. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and you can join us there, and let's keep on moving. Let's talk about this. How about this? Now we're streaming on Twitch right now, and this is a gaming site, like it is what it is. It's a thing. This is reported by Wired.com, and so a game live streaming site has become an extremist haven. DC rioters used DLive to stream from the Capitol to thousands of people on Wednesday, and to get donations from them too. All right, so an extremist haven, however you want to say the word. They're saying that now again, now notice the way they frame these things, and the way they talk about communities, right? So it's like this. It's like, let's say you've got you live in a neighborhood, and you've got one particular individual who's just a belligerent asshole. This guy is breaking the laws all the time. He's setting fires to things. He's doing this. He's doing that, right? And so your area where you live is known as kind of this. Let's call it a. I don't know. It was called the asshole zone, right? They know it. It's got a reputation because of this one dude, right? Or maybe him and his buddy, right? So a small subsection of people is what I'm pointing at. But your entire neighborhood is maligned as, asshole neighborhood. You see what I'm getting at here? So here we go. So if so now the implication from Wired.com is if you're streaming on DLive, you are a terrorist, right? So the words don't say that exactly, but of course, what do you think the article says? What do you think they're getting at? Here we go. Mainstream platforms like Facebook cracked down on videos glorifying the attack, fueled in part by the bogus claim that the presidential election was stolen from Donald Trump. Lesser-known platforms that are supported extremists and conspiracy theorists, for years, were also activated by the insurrection. Look at the language these assholes are using. Like I say assholes, these guys are assholes. Among them is a blockchain-based live streaming site called DLive, which hosted multiple streams from the Capitol on Wednesday and allowed viewers to donate directly to the streamers as they broadcast their actions and misinformation. So, right? You stream on DLive, you were at this thing, hundreds of thousands of people there by some estimates, and if you're there, you're a terrorist. If you watched on DLive or streamed on DLive or you currently stream on DLive, you're a terrorist too. Look at the language. Look at the way they frame these things. So here we go. Channels with hundreds of viewers went live on Wednesday with titles like March to Save America and Time to Take Our Country Back. More than 140,000 DLive viewers watched streams about the events at the Capitol, many condoning or encouraging the mob there. At least one person streamed after breaking into the Capitol itself as donations flooded in. Look at that. At least one person. Right? So that's basically saying we have no idea how many. It may be as few as just a few, or maybe even one. That's all we can really verify. So who's the asshole? Wired.com. Who's the asshole here? We're going to malign anybody who streams or watches shit on DLive, right? And like I said, there's one asshole in the neighborhood, and it's Wired.com. What's up, Wired.com? I'm talking about you. Anyway, like this is the type of stuff, right? This is propaganda, and this is exactly what's happening with the world we live in. Just because you are, let's say some asshole does something terrible on Twitch. We're streaming on Twitch right now. Does that make us assholes too? Of course not, right? We need to be able to differentiate these things and realize when they're maligning an entire generation, an entire political group, an entire whatever it is. This shit needs to stop. This shit is exactly what causes division. This is mainstream media par for the course, right? This is exactly the same shit we always talk about. So just a perfect example of what's going on here. We got one more. Let's finish this up, and then we'll roll. We'll get out of here. But don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. Here we go. If you want to be part of the show, we got a couple minutes left for you. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org is the official website. You can join Discord there. It's a persistent chat and voice client. So even if you're shy and don't want to be on the show, there's a lot of people chatting in there 24/7. Lots of links being shared, ideas, and the rule there is kind of like the rule for the neighborhood. Don't be an asshole. That's easy. It's a pretty good rule. Don't show up and just tell everybody they're wrong and be an asshole, right? Try and teach and try and learn and try and be a good citizen. And that's it. That's what the community is all about there. We did have one asshole that showed up a while and tried to tell everybody they were wrong, but they're gone now. They left. Anyway, you get the point. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Here we go. Space.com. Meet AU Spot, the AI robot dog that's training to explore caves on Mars. See, now this is the best part. You guys seen what's that? With Arnold Schwarzenegger that had he was in, what was he in? He was in Total Recall. You remember that when we went to Mars and he was there and they asked him, he was dressed in the woman suit, and they said, "How long are you going to be on Mars?" He's all 3 weeks. And then they're like checking the passport, and then the robot spurgs out 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Blah, 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 blah. Remember all that? Anyway, go back and watch that if you haven't seen it. It's a classic. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. It's all the great things about like sci-fi movies, like goofball, fantastic sci-fi movies. And it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's hard to hate that. All right, but so now if you go to Mars, my point being, you're not going to be able to escape the cyber police, the thought police, the robotic dogs of the Boston Dynamics, which we just pointed out just recently in the last couple of weeks about how the dancing robots are going to be the robots that incarcerate you of the future. But no, if you think you can escape to Mars, think again. Meet AU Spot, the AI robot dog that's training to explore the caves on Mars. So here we go. A picture of this dog. It looks exactly like the Boston Robotics or Boston Dynamics, I think they're called. Here we go. Scientists are equipping four-legged animal-mimicking robots with artificial intelligence and an array of sensing equipment to help the bots autonomously navigate treacherous terrain and subsurface caves on the red planet. Fantastic, right? I think that's pretty cool. Why would you risk people to go down there? And who knows what who knows what kind of alien critters you find down there in the pits of Mars. But pretty neat stuff. So this continues. In a presentation on December 14th at the annual meeting of the American Geophysical Union, the AGU, which was held online this year, of course, because of COVID, researchers with NASA, JPL, Caltech introduced their Mars dogs. Was this the Dogs of Mars? This is a bad dystopian novel now. The Dogs of Mars. Anyway, so these Mars dogs, they can maneuver in ways iconic wheeled rovers such as Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and the recently launched Perseverance never could. The new robots' agility and resilience are coupled with sensors that allow them to avoid obstacles, choose between multiple paths, and build virtual maps of buried tunnels and caverns for operators at home base, scientists said at AGU. Traditional Mars rovers are limited mostly to flat surfaces, but many scientifically interesting Martian regions are only reachable by crossing very rough terrain or descending below ground. Walking robot dogs, the Dogs of Mars. Who wants to make that movie, guys? Let's do this. Let's get this done. Walking robot dogs are well suited for such challenges. Even if they fall down, they can get back up again. Quote, toppling does not mean mission failure, the scientist said during the presentation. Using recovery algorithms, the robot can self-right from a multitude of falls, which actually we saw happening with those the Boston Dynamics robots and the dancing and all this stuff. We've been keeping an eye on this, and again, right? It's all great. This is all great. This is all really good stuff that needs to happen, except, right, when the drone comes and drops off the RoboCop that kicks your door in, and it all happens before you can even blink. Yeah, and then you're, again, incarcerated. Or let's say we get a political media out of control, and they falsely characterize you as a terrorist because maybe you're streaming on DLive. And then they send the robot dogs after you. The Dogs of Mars, right? You see what I'm saying here? You see what I'm getting at? It's funny, not funny. Oh, geez. All right. So we're done. The good news is, the bad news is we're done. The good news is we'll be back tomorrow. All right, that's how we finish this one up. I want to say thank you to all the folks that have subbed up to this channel. Played a couple times on how to do exactly that. And if you want to help support us, this show does cost money for the phone line and some other things. So I would like to break even at some point, and that would be amazing with your help. I'm asking, please. And if you like this show and like to support it and like to see more of it, please consider subscribing. You can do that by linking your Twitch and your Amazon Prime account and send some money for free. It's basically money wasted if you don't use it. So you may as well send me a couple bucks, right? Why the hell not? And you get the free games. Don't forget the free games. They give you free monthly games if you do it. So anyway, let's go to this. We're going to go to the Star Wars crawl. I did get one subscription added to this that I didn't add just yet. So I will add that soon for tomorrow. But for right now, this is folks that have subbed up to the stream. We're going to play this Star Wars crawl for y'all. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subbing up. Thanks for doing all the things. Here is the outro music, and let's read some of this. A huge thank you to all of our amazing supporters. Join the list today. This show is funded directly by a decentralized freedom squad that answers only to ourselves. Corporate and political interests can jump off. AJ Dare, Alien Nichan, Arc Platinum, Axel Steel 3, Dark Devious, FGC Spiral, Ident, Lizzie Dags, Monochromatic, Nikki Nix, Noble Kal-El, also boosting our Discord server, thank you very much. Often Frozen, Quint67, Supervike 1, and Satan Claus. There you go. Simple as that. You want to be on the Star Wars crawl? We've got one more to add to that list, which I will add. If you want to get yourself on the list, or if I've missed you or mispronounced your name, please just get in contact with me. We'll put you on. We will remedy the situation. I appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate the great chat, the great calls. Thanks again, Joe, for the call today. And we'll be back tomorrow. So for right now, hang tight. Don't fall for the BS propaganda. You're listening to Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.